Hey, you guys, welcome to your 4 Geeks by Geeks Geek Out Sesh on a Monday night. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We got Oddity in the chat. We got Alec in the chat. We got the guest of the evenington in the chat. Oh my god, you guys, I'm so pumped for this. It's been 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks, and I hate it. The last one, if you missed it, we were talking with 4 Nerds by Nerds. That's right, it's a real channel. And Josh from 4 Nerds by Nerds, FNBN, Fun Buns, was a real hoot and a half. It was a blast. But we're back, and I can't wait for you guys to, if you don't already know my guest tonight, you're going to absolutely fall in love with her. I've been really looking forward to having her on for a very long time. I actually had to postpone her day once, and I felt horrible about it. And so she was so gracious, and now she's coming back. We got Cat Lady Mallory in the chat. Hello, hello, hello. But you guys, tonight, let's bring the moment down a little bit. Welcome to your 4 Geeks by Geeks love session. We're going to talk about some real life issues. We're going to talk about sex, baby. We're going to talk about you and me. But honestly, no. We are going to be talking about a lot of fun topics tonight because these are the things that if you tune into Steggy Stardust's stream at any point, these are things that she does cover, and she's kind of really smart and really wise about it. So, of course, I wanted to have her on tonight. But if this is your very first time at a 4 Geek by Geeks Geek Out Sesh, welcome. And if you're live here in the chat on Twitch on a Monday night at 8:30 Eastern Standard, I'm so glad you're here. We got Sad Capper as a first-time chatter. Welcome. How we doing? But if you are watching after the fact on YouTube or on podcast form, then don't forget you can always join us live here on Twitch on Monday nights. And I appreciate you. Let us be your background noise for the rest of your workday. Mwah, love you. Oh my god, so many new people. Thank you. We got Bree here. Hi, Bree. We got Spider Mad. What's up? You guys, I want to know if you haven't already used that command question of the day, QOTD, because I got to know one of your worst dating history moments. T shared earlier how he had been with a girl on her first date to Insomnia Cookies, and you said one of her teeth fell out, and you turned around and fucking left. I might bring an interesting take to this whole thing, because as many of you know, I am married, and I have actually been married for a while, but I've been with my wife for even longer, and that's just how we roll. So I'm going to learn so much about the current dating scene, and I'm really pumped about it. But if you rewind the clock to 4th grade, there was this girl that I was in love with. And to impress her, I went to her house, and I brought her a gift. And while I was there, I made an actual ass out of myself, and I marched around her entire house with a dog leash around my neck and the other on my foot, and I'm looking at Steggy making like a crazy face right now because yeah, that's who I am. And I was like, I'm walking myself. Shortly after, my dad dragged me out of there, said you embarrassed me, and I never heard from her again. So apparently my game is strong. Yeah, he said 4th grade. I sure did. That's the last time I went on a date. It was in 4th grade. Woo, Clunes! Thank you for the Prime sub. But I am tired of talking to myself, and I need to hear from my guest tonight. Because you guys, like I said, if you don't know Steggy, and I think many of you already do, that's why you are here. Thank you so much. I love when they have support here in the chat. But if you don't, you're going to love her. And so you can always use the command Steggy at any point and find all her great stuff in her socials and her website and her Twitch and her Patreon. Let's get her some new fans and new Patreon supporters tonight. But without further ado, I am going to welcome the one and the very only, literally, I don't think I've ever known any other Steggy in my whole life. The one and only Steggy Stardust. Give it up, everyone!
Hi. It's such a build-up. I'm just like, hi.
Hi. This is her. That's her. That's for real her. I'm gonna zhuzh your camera a little bit. I didn't do this before. because I'm bad. Because technical difficulties, that's what y'all are here for. I'm going to put you back in the middle. You're welcome.
Right.
Boom. How we doing, Steggy?
I'm great. I got my coffee tonight instead of wine for a change, which is nice. But good. Happy Monday to all those Chicagoans that thought that we were going to have spring. Sorry.
Oh my God, it was like, was it 70 in Chicago the other day?
It was like 60-something degrees, and everybody was happy and outside and like buying iced coffees. And then today I woke up and I was like, it was just like a snowstorm outside. I was like, why? I don't understand.
I need spring.
We're good people.
What have we done?
Literally. I've done nothing but love this city.
Well, we're getting some great topics from the question of the day. Like Oceana said, this guy and I were both going in like it was for a kiss, but ended up with a bro handshake instead.
No. Pain.
You guys are going crazy in the chat, so I love that. But Steggy, I gotta know, before we get into the beef of what we're gonna talk about tonight, I want to know, what is one of your worst dating history memories?
So I always use this story, and I think some people in the chat might know this story, but it's a very short, sweet, and ugly one. So I went to go see one of the Spider-Man movies. I don't remember which one it was. And it was my second time seeing it, and it was a first date with somebody. I think he bought the tickets to the movie, so I bought us drinks to make it fair.
Yeah.
So it started off nice. Like, he was, he seemed nice and everything. We sit down, and he would not shut up during the movie. And he just kept asking me questions. He's like, so who's that person? And what does that mean? And I was just like,
he wasn't familiar with Spider-Man?
He like, I don't know. And, like, honestly, it was just like, he was like, well, just ask me all these questions. And I was like, dude, just watch the movie. All your questions are going to be answered here shortly. Like, I don't want to talk to you. And but it gets worse. So we're in like those like recliner chairs, right? And
ooh, okay.
A pretty fair sign that a girl doesn't want you to like grab her hand or anything is that her hands are tucked underneath her legs or in between, like, or she's doing this with them. She's doing something with them, right?
Right. So
I had my hands like in my lap doing my own thing, and I'm like, could not get out of there fast enough. But at one point, I like literally went to the bathroom, and I'm like, I could leave, but I'm like, I'm not gonna do that to him.
Plus, he's Spider-Man.
Nice. Yeah. Plus, I mean, Tom Holland. Like, it's fine. I'll stay, and stayed, and it was the worst mistake. And he, at one point, just grabbed my hand, and in that moment, 1,000 thoughts are going through my head. I'm like, what is he going to do? What is he about to do with my hand? Grabs it. He cracks my knuckle. He cracks my thumb knuckle. I didn't know you could even crack that. And he cracked it and just cracked it. And I was like, and I literally said, why? Like, that's all that came out of my mouth. Why?
We all want to know. What did he say?
He didn't say anything. He just goes, And I have never gotten the ick so fast over somebody to where I was just like, I need to go. I need to get out of here.
You
like,
left then.
This guy's a serial killer.
Tell me you left right then and there.
I didn't. I stayed till the end of the movie.
Oh my God. It's a lucky you're alive.
This boy had the audacity to ask me back to his apartment where he has like 4 roommates. And I was like, I think I'm just gonna go. With thanks. And then I just never talked to him again.
And now your thumb won't stop cracking.
And now it's just like, won't stop.
I did actually discover that, and now it feels really good, and that's like my favorite knuckle to crack.
I don't like it because it triggers me now. And just like, it just reverts back to that like memory. Every time I watch that Spider-Man movie, I'm just like, no, I can't. Don't take me back there.
Well, y'all in the chat, that's the question of the day. What's your worst first date story or dating history? Like Alec Yellow highlighted this. One time I went on a date with someone, but he didn't like Code Lyoko. What a monster, but it's okay because he didn't have eyebrows. That wasn't a date, Alec. That was for your birthday. We did it in the Discord, and I did it for you. I do one. See, no good deed goes unpunished. That's the message.
Unbelievable.
I don't know where they went. They're coming back one day. I don't know. I'm just admiring Steggy's beautiful eyebrows and your beautiful blue hair. Is that new?
Thank you. It's a whole story. So Mallory, actually, Cat Lady Mallory in the chat is
Cat
the one
Lady!
that she does my hair, and it was blue after she dyed it blonde. She did a wonderful job of making it this beautiful blue, and then it faded into like this silvery color. And then I used this shampoo that she gave me for Christmas. And now it's like this blue on top that fades into this silver, and it's the coolest probably hairstyle I've ever had. And it was totally accidental, and I just tell Mal that like she just keeps winning with this hairstyle because like every time something changes about it, it gets cooler. So I'm just like, if you guys need your hair done and you're in the Chicagoland area, please go to Cat Lady Mallory. She's unreal.
Not only is she great cosplayer and streamer, she's also a great hairstylist. She's gonna come on the show one day, I swear.
She hasn't cosplayed yet, but keep calling her that.
I'm gonna call her
and like
that.
maybe she will. And
We're
maybe
speaking
she
it
will.
into existence.
Yeah, I manifest it, please. I want her to cosplay with us.
But I want to know more about you. So for those that don't know you, tell us a little bit about what you do.
So I cosplay, but I also do marketing as a day job. So
We all need one.
We all need one. I used to go to conventions a lot. I started cosplaying back in, I think it was 2015, late 2015, early 2015. Wizard World Chicago was my very first convention. And Bombshell Harley Quinn was my very first cosplay. And I mean, I've been loving it ever since. I've met some really amazing people. Zombrie, I met her through cosplay, and she's literally one of my best friends now. And I have a lot of, actually, another one of my best friends, Lacey, she's getting married in May. And I met her through cosplay, and I'm a bridesmaid at her wedding now. So
No
it's
way!
like, yeah. So I've met, I met you through so
Exactly.
many incredible people, through cosplay, and I am truly grateful for it. I usually go to 1 to like 3 or 4 conventions a year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but I go to like the bigger ones, and I go to like the C2E2, the Wizard World and stuff, but then I like to sprinkle in some smaller ones if I can. They're just so much fun, and it really is just a cool community where you can just hang out. And weirdly enough, and I think a lot of cosplayers can relate to this, is where you can be more of yourself when you're in costume and when you're in like
Isn't that weird?
It's so funny, and I've always thought that even since, you know, when I started dressing up for Halloween as a teenager, I was like, why do I feel more comfortable in like, you know, in this outfit than in my own skin? And it's crazy how that works. So yeah, I do that. I haven't been to a convention since COVID started, except for one. I did do Toys and Con in the suburbs. It was a smaller one, but yeah, I haven't done any real big conventions or anything since COVID started. So I actually, the way that I keep myself kind of creating content and making cosplays is through Patreon, which is why I'm always pushing people towards my Patreon, is because I'm like, that's what keeps me going. Like, you guys don't understand. That's where I get, like, I have to come up with ideas every month. So that's pretty much where all my creative energy is going right now.
Well, you've definitely said it. You've made a splash. Like, I have such respect for you. Like, I'm trying to define what it is, because like you said, I did meet you at C2E2 a couple years ago at one of the after parties before COVID. And like, your energy is just so, I don't know. It feels like your energy, it precedes you. Like,
Thank you.
Like, you know, when you walk in the room, you're like, oh fuck, Steggy's here.
Oh my god, I feel like the opposite. Whenever I walk into the room in my condo, my cats are like, this bitch is here again. So it's total opposite energy
They're
here
just,
in the condo.
no, they're just intimidated. They're too scared.
They're like, where's my food? Please.
Are you with DoorDash? Excuse me? You can't come in here.
You buy Uber Eats?
Right.
Leave it outside. Just leave it outside. I'm like, no.
But I've always admired your cosplay work. Your makeup work is fantastic.
Thank you.
And you're tons of fun to hang out with on stream. So thank you for being here tonight.
No, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And if any of you, like I said, are enamored with her as I am, then feel free to use command Steggy, and it'll take you straight to her website, Pinky Up Much, and with all of her links.
It's literally nothing. I bought that website forever ago, and it was kind of just like I'm gonna have it just to have it.
Yeah.
And then like I started working on it one time like years ago, and then I tried working on it like a couple months ago because I'm like, oh, I finally have time to like work on this, and WordPress completely changed, and I was like, oh, I don't know what the hell I'm doing anymore. So I literally just have links on there now because I'm like, I need to like figure all this out again because I don't know how to do it.
It's just like a big, expensive, fancy link tree at this point.
Yes, literally. Well, and I bought the website at such a cheap price that like, you know, I'm afraid to let it go. That's why every year it's like it's expiring. I'm like, the hell it is.
Yeah.
Just renew.
They didn't know the gem that steggystardust.com would be one day, so they just let it go.
All it takes is for you to like let your website go no matter what it is for a second, and somebody will come in and snipe it and try to sell it back to you.
And
like,
that pisses me off because if immediately we went for 4geeksbygeeks.com and our name is just, I don't want to call it generic, but it's more generic than Steggy Stardust. It's like $900 if I want to pay for that. It's stupid. It's
oh my
stupid.
God.
Yeah. So
That's
ours is
so
4geeksbygeeks.live because that's how you know we're super legit.
Whatever works, man.
What
if
works?
you tell people it's legit, it's legit.
But how did you first get into cosplaying? Because like you said, you met so many great people, and this community is so chef's kiss. So what was the first thing that got you into it?
So I actually, I volunteered because I had been to C2E2. That was like the big convention that I went to just to like walk around as a civilian and get art and, you know, whatever else. And I want to say that Mal and I went to one like in like 2011, 2012 or something, but I don't remember because I have a really bad memory.
Oh my God, same. We're gonna be great.
Yeah, it's wonderful. But then I ended up volunteering because I saw like an ad on Craigslist, and it was like they're looking for a T-shirt, I'm sorry, it was like superherotshirts.com was looking for people to work their booth, and I was like, yeah, that's cool. Yes, Mal. Yeah, we went with her now husband and my best friend at the time.
Okay.
So that was like I think one of the first times I ever went to a big convention, and I ended up working at that booth, and I just remember seeing all the costumes around me and being like, this is so cool. Everyone is so cool. And I was like, I kind of want to dress up. What if I dress up? And I had a friend of mine who had never been to a convention, or he had never dressed up either. And he was like, you know, I've always wanted to do that too. And I was like, dude, Wizard World's coming up. Do you want to maybe go together and we can give it a try? And we did. And it was literally so much fun, and that's how we met. Like he was friends with Lacey, who is again one of my best friends now, and ran into her. And I remember it was like the first day there, and I was like, well, I gotta take a train back, and she's like, I live in Chicago too, I'll give you a ride. And I was like, this is awesome. I love it here. I'm like, everybody's so cool. So
everyone's so strangely nice.
Dude, everyone was so nice to me, and that experience is what kind of just made me go, I have to keep doing this. Like, I mean, I met one of my best friends, like, I met a bunch of other people, and so yeah, volunteering is what got me to dress up, and then the community and the people that I met is what got me to stick around and like, just, I was really nervous because I had never made a costume, you know, for a convention before. Yeah. And I was afraid, like, what if I get a detail wrong? What if, like, because I was wearing a corset instead of wearing, like, Harley Quinn's outfit where she's just wearing the bra and the jacket. Yeah. I was wearing a corset. And I was like, what if people are going to scold me because I'm not dressed, like, whatever. And I walked in and, like, everybody was like, I love it. I love it. And I was like, even though it's not, like, super accurate, like, interesting. And yeah, that's when I learned that so many people had so many different variations of all these different cosplays and all these different characters and everything. So I was like, just the best.
And that's what cosplaying should be. And I would say for the large majority it is. Like, it's just a welcoming community. You have your few gatekeepers and yada yada. We don't talk about them. But like, that's the whole reason that, like, we first started this channel, just because everybody's so cool, and everybody just, you love that thing, and then you dress up like that thing, and then somebody else like, oh my God, you love that thing too? Great. I don't care about anything else except that we love this thing. Let's be best friends.
That's exactly it. It's amazing. It's
you
such
don't
a
get
wonderful
that anywhere
feeling.
else, I feel.
Right. I always say that it's so different. Like, my I guess my IRL friends that like, you know, I go out on like dinner dates with and like hang out with, and we go to the movies, we go out to the bars or whatever, as opposed to my like geeky friends that I, you know, are my excuse me, are my like cosplay friends. It's such a different like experience hanging out with these people, and you know, having different, almost a different vocabulary and a different like just way of speaking, where you're like, you're making these stupid jokes and these stupid things, and like I would never reference Goku's Spirit Bomb with, you know, one of my friends that I'm out to, you know what I mean? It's so different, and it's so cool because you get to just be yourself, and your friends know the references, and you're like, God, this is cool.
You said it. It's almost like, yes, you're not dressed like yourself, but you're showing who you are in that costume by wanting to dress up. That's a really weird sentence, but like, you get what I said.
Right.
If you guys haven't seen Steggy's work, it's come a long way. Do you mind if we take a quick stroll down your Instagram?
Sure.
Woo! So first we're going to go to steggystardust.com. And so here's where you can get links to her Twitch, her Patreon, which you should go subscribe to, and her Instagram, which is free. So here's just a quick glimpse of the wonder that you can get at Steggy's Instagram. Even in your selfies, I kind of consider you kind of a selfie queen, because I don't know how you get all these selfies and they look so good all the time.
That's actually like that's how I take my Patreon photos. I don't have a professional camera. I don't have, you know, a professional photographer taking my stuff. I don't have anything like that. I have my cell phone, and I have a couple lights, and I have a phone stand. That's it, and that's what I work with. So yeah, that's why a lot of them are selfies, and like I do the best that I can with what I got.
You do better than the best. You are the best. No, but what I think you've done is you've shown that, yes, I like these things. I can make this accessible. Like, you don't always need a professional camera. You've got great shots with professional photographers, but if you just have a camera at home, like that 100%, you can do that. There's not...
Right.
You take the gate off, essentially, is what you're doing. And I appreciate that.
I mean, yeah, and that's something that, like, I'm super fortunate to live in a period where we have, you know, amazing cell phones and that can take pretty decent photos. And I'm sure if I was better at technology, I could probably get even better ones. But, you know, I like I said, I do what I can with what I have. And, you know, I'm sure when I upgrade my cell phone at some point, I'll get even better ones. But yeah, I mean, content creation is just, it's something that you can do with literally anything. I mean, just a cell phone, and you can make TikToks and you can get 1 million followers. I mean, you know, you can take selfies on your phone and get a couple likes on whatever. You can stream from your phone. You can do all sorts of things. It's crazy.
God, what a time to be alive.
Honestly, it's insane. It's changed everything. Everything has changed because of TikTok and all these different kinds of like social media platforms.
I'm 100% here for it. Like, we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing right now without like this really accessible technology. So while it might be destroying us at our core, it makes this possible.
Right. I'm laughing at the Jar Jar because that's like my cursed cosplay, the Jar Jar Binks.
Do you have any, like, who's your favorite other than Harley?
So Harley is actually not my favorite. I think that's just like my OG, like that was my first one.
Okay.
And I did it because I used to love Harley Quinn growing up. I mean, you know, the Batman animation, I was obsessed with. I think all of us were obsessed with her.
The animated series?
And, like, yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I mean, I was obsessed with her. She was all over my MySpace page. Like, you know, I loved her. So when I first got into cosplay, I think I did that just because I was familiar with her and I was comfortable doing, you know, that character. I think my favorite cosplay to date is Pennywise, the gender bent Pennywise. I love face makeup, I love face paint, I love body paint, and I love horror. So being able to mix the two to get this like really cool gender bent character, I mean, it by far probably actually my favorite as far as that goes.
And it's so good. It's so good. Like, if you guys saw her on our Instagram, we posted a photo that she shared with us, It's so good. And you would have seen it in
Thank
the
you.
pre-stream, but I forgot to play that all together. I've just realized right now. I'm this second old.
It's okay.
Oh, but here you go. There it is. There she is. Ooh.
Yeah, that's my old. I have 2 versions of it, and that's the one that I did in a professional photo shoot with SC Designs, and I mean, it was so cool. And he's also a huge horror movie fanatic, so having somebody who was an expert on horror take these photos was it was so cool, because there were shots that we accidentally took. That it was just like, you know, I would move a certain way, and he's like, "Don't move." I'm like, "Okay."
Those are the best.
So it was awesome. I mean, and you know, it's a photographer that I had worked with many times. Actually, the majority of the photos that I sent to you were with this photographer, and we just vibed so well, and we had worked together for so many years that we got comfortable with each other. You know, so it was like we went from like the first shoot where he was like, "Oh, maybe you can do this, maybe you can do that," to "I'm gonna move you, and this is how you're gonna stay." And I was like, "Do whatever you gotta do, man."
Which is huge.
Yeah, it was amazing.
I'm just showing this picture because this is the night that I first met you.
Yeah, this is when we first met.
And you were sitting there, and I was too intimidated to even talk to you.
And I'm sure I was just there, like, staring at, like, the ceiling, just, like, flabbergasted by everything going on around me.
You were just too cool for me? That's what I assumed was happening.
Not even a little bit. I was probably just, like, my brain was probably exhausted from all the stuff happening at the convention. So
Jesus.
I was probably, like,
we talked about this
it.
pre-stream, but... like you and I both like freak out at cons. Like there's just too much to do and too many people to see and like too many options, and I just can't experience all of it enough.
Yeah.
I think I lost my phone and my wallet like 4 times that day.
Oh my god, no, absolutely not. I would freak out.
And the thing is, they were always like still in my pocket.
That's the thing about like a lot of cosplays is I will always find a way to like sew in a pocket or have a compartment in something because like there's so many like spandex cosplays out there that like just, you know, they don't have room for anything, and I'm like, oh, there'll be room. I'm like, 1, it's got to have a pocket. 2, I got to be able to pee in it.
Rules to live by.
Dude, I mean, you go to the bathrooms there, and it takes an hour to get out of your, like...
Honestly, I once did a hipster Spider-Man, and so it was like a Spider-Man suit, but I put some, like, hipster clothes on it, and I had, like... I was on the web before it was cool, like, stupid shit like that. And I basically had to get naked, take all my costume off, just to go pee every time.
That's what it's like being a girl when you wear, like, a romper to the bar.
Oh, my God.
Like,
I can't remember the first time I realized that, but... like, I had somebody I was working with, and they were wearing a romper, and I was like, wait, you have to get naked in the bathroom every time. Anyway, on a completely unrelated note, so you dove headfirst into cosplay, making an entire cosplay account through it, and your work is just so good. So then what brought you to Twitch? Like, you stream now.
Yeah, so I actually, I had a couple friends that, and I think Bree was one of those people that had been streaming, and I had a couple friends that were, you know, dabbling in streaming and whatnot, and it started becoming, like, sorry, the cool thing to do, right? It was like, you know, we hit COVID, and there wasn't anything for us to do, we had to stay home, we were in quarantine, and Twitch just blew up overnight, and I was like, I can give it a try, why not? Yeah, like Mel said, it's the pandemic thing to do.
It's the pandemic thing to do.
I mean, it really was. Everybody and their mom was streaming.
It brought us to Twitch.
Yeah, I mean, and it brought me to Twitch. It brought, I know Mel had been watching, Cat Lady Mallory had been watching Twitch for a few years. I had never seen Twitch before. I'd never watched Twitch. I didn't really spend that much time, like, you know, on a PC. I never had a PC before, so, you know, I was like, you know, and so I decided to give it a shot, started streaming from my PlayStation, and it was fun, and I was just like, man, this is hard to do from a PlayStation. I had to set up so much stuff. So eventually, like, you know, all my friends had PCs, and they were all gaming, and I'm like, I want to be a PC person too. So I ended up, like, buying all the parts for a PC, and then Zombrie's friend actually put it together for me, and that's when I started streaming, like, more. Because before I used to stream, like, just chatting off my laptop. Because that's all I could handle. I couldn't handle games or anything.
Right.
So I was just doing just chattings off there, and a lot of what we talked about was like relationship stuff, because that's what I used to do on my Instagram lives. Like I used to just do relationship like advice and, you know, tips and things that I've learned and stuff like that. And yeah, so I started once I got the PC, I started streaming like games and stuff like that. And now it's kind of like a mixture of, you know, streaming games and that, and then also doing just chattings when I have like the mental space for it, because, you know, the just chattings really do take a lot of a lot of your brain space, especially when it comes to a topic that, you know, can be a little rough sometimes, because people are asking very personal questions. And I always tell people I'm an open book. Like, ask me whatever. And like, yes, there's things that are painful, but I'm happy to talk about them, because if it means that somebody else might learn something from that, or, you know, somebody else might be less embarrassed about something similar that happened to them, hell yeah, like, let's go. So yeah, streaming has been a very interesting way to pass the time. I always say it's not my number one priority, but it is something that I do enjoy doing. Yeah.
Once again, you're taking the gate off of streaming and taking the gate off of relationships, and I love that. And I've tried. When I first wanted to have you on, like, talking about relationships was the number one thing that I wanted you to come on, because the couple times that I was able to catch a stream and you were talking about it, I was like, oh my god, this woman has such a solid head on her shoulders.
Thank you.
And all I could think about is like, what the fuck have you gone through to get that head? You don't get that for free. That is hard earned every time.
How much time you got?
We'll go till midnight. I don't care.
Yeah, it's been a lot. It's been a lot of dating experiences. I live in Chicago. I live in a very big city, and even before moving to Chicago, I you know, have dated quite a lot. Because I very much am somebody that like has like wears her heart on her sleeve. I'm very like, I dive in, I go all out, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. On to the next one. Like, that's just kind of how it is. You know, we're all kind of out here trying to find our you know, our person or whatever. And yeah, I try to, or I used to try to start every relationship, you know, just brand new. Like, all right, didn't work out with the last one, let's see what happens with this one. And it's something that like I never used to really pay attention to what I was doing, what they were doing, how, you know, situations were being handled, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, it's, as I got older, I started learning, hey, I should probably start paying attention to this, or I've seen this behavior before, or, you know, things that I do too. It's not just, you know, it's not just monitoring or like paying attention to what they're doing. It's also me, you know, and so yeah, it has been a lot. I mean, I'm 33 years old, and I've been dating since I was like 19, so it's you know, 14 years of dating. Oh
my god, so many stories. I just want to hear them all. But we don't have time for that. We don't have time for all of them.
No.
But a little later on, we are going to be answering questions from the chat. So if you have some dating questions, specifically in this world of cosplay, in this geekdom scene, in this gaming world that we all live in, dating can be weird, and it can be specific, and it can be some weird amalgamous problems that we all have to sort out. So we are here with the love doctor herself, Steggy Stardust. So think of your questions. We'll be coming to them in a few, but there's a few topics that we want to kind of touch on before we get there. So, oh, I have it loaded. I have it loaded. No, I don't. Yes, I do. No, I don't. Where'd it go? No, I don't. Whatever. We're going to hit this. So we're going to begin a little subject that I like to call Ask Steggy. So, Steggy. Dr. Steggy. May I call you Dr. Steggy?
You can call me Dr. Steggy, sure.
PhD and graduate from the School of Hard Knocks.
The School of Pain, yes.
Yeah. So, talk to me about dating in the cosplay scene. Like, for those that, I feel like there's some weird fantasy that like, oh man, I can't wait to date a cosplayer, because then they're going to be dressed up all the time. They have some sort of, they're always looking like something else. They can transform themselves at any point. What's it really like to date a cosplayer?
So also, sorry, I live right on Lakeshore Drive, so if you hear traffic or like motorcycles or something in the background,
Gunshots,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
So it is interesting because I think a lot of people have that expectation that you are going to be this girl that is always dressed up and always has makeup on and embodies these characters. And I think people forget we are not these characters.
Right.
You know, I'm not Bulma. Like, I am not somebody who's gonna, like, you know, I can't help you find the Dragon Balls, my guy. You know, you're not these anime characters that, you know, are gonna just be cool all the time. It's at one point they see that you're a person with feelings, with toxic traits, with, you know, with somebody who's going through a hard time or somebody who needs help with certain things, and that you're not just this person that's here to satisfy them in all aspects of the word.
Right, like this is a relationship. You're not just like a doll.
Right. And, you know, it really is a fetish, like some people are saying. Like, it absolutely is something that's a fetish. And, you know, I dated somebody that I met on Instagram a few years ago. And it was like, once he found out, like, I was a person with real issues and whatever else, it's like he just was this terrible person, like super mean and like super just like, and it's like, I never told you that I was perfect. Like, you didn't listen, you know? It's like, you fell in love with me and you didn't know me.
Right.
Like, and it, like, now you know me and you're like, oh, I don't know about all this. And it's, you know, we're not always dressed up. Like Mel's saying, like, we're not always dressed up. Sometimes I'm lounging around in my sweats with no makeup and I haven't washed my hair in a week. Like, you know, and
yeah, Mal says it looks semi-attractive 4 days a month.
Literally same. Like, this is, I'm like, man, I got my fake eyelashes on. I'm like, oh god. After this, when I take off the makeup and everything, like, I'm already in pajamas. Like, I'm not in jeans. I'm in sweatpants. But it really is something that's fetishized, and, you know, I think more than anything, they expect you to be the cool girl, like the cool, like, anime-loving, you know, superhero-loving, knowledgeable, cool girl from, like, the TikToks and, like, the gamer girls or whatever.
Right.
And not realizing that, you know, we are people that have feelings and that are going through hard times and, you know, have our past issues and whatnot. And once you are humanized, they're like, oh, well, I don't know if I'm ready for all this. It's like, oh, well, bye. See you then.
So then that kind of leads me to the question, should, like, cosplayers seek out other cosplayers that will understand that? Or if not, how do you set yourself up in a relationship to make sure that you don't get linked in with someone that's just there for the cosplay account, or to get them to fully understand, like, look, this is only me some days a month? Right.
You know, I've dated both cosplayers and non-cosplayers, and I will say that there was never an issue with the cosplay thing. There was never a, like, oh, well, this person handled it better than this person. If anything, I think the people that were non-cosplayers handled the fact that I was a cosplayer and that I do Patreon and I take sexy photos and stuff like that. They handled it better than the cosplayers themselves. And
Really?
a lot of it with one person had to do with jealousy. They were like, they would get upset that my cosplays were better than theirs, that their cosplay didn't turn out as good as mine. And I was like, and I'd be like, I don't know what you want from me. Do you want me to help you? And, like, they didn't want the help, and I was like, you know, they got upset that I got more attention than them, and I'm like, I don't know what you want from me. I don't see it as a competition. I see it as, like, you know, you're going as that person, I'm going as this person, and, like, we look cool together. And then there was the other person that, you know, was okay with me having a Patreon and taking the photos that I do, and then they changed their mind midway through, and they were like, never mind, I hate this. Like, you know, they got jealous all of a sudden, and I was just like, listen, man, I told you this from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like, yeah, Sad Capper knows the scarf story, where I sewed a scarf or like a handkerchief for somebody because they were doing an Android 18 or an Android 17, and I was doing Android 18, and I sewed it for them, and they said that they hated it, that it wasn't right, it wasn't sewn right, and that like to never mind, and like, I mean, it was a whole argument. And then the next morning, I woke up at like 6 in the morning, undid it, and sewed it all again to make a brand new one. And like when I gave it to them, they were like, "Yeah, this is what I wanted," and I was like, "Thank you." Like, it was just the most like. And shortly after that, we broke up because I was like,
right, as you should.
Woof. Like, I couldn't handle like just how competitive this person was with me, of all people. I was like,
the person
I'm
they should be
girlfriend.
closest to, right?
Right. I was like, I'm your girlfriend. Like, if you need help with something, let me help you, like, or let me do it for you. But don't like be mad at me because it was done wrong. Like,
right.
it wasn't on purpose, you know. So. That was my experience dating 2 cosplayers.
Mm-hmm.
Dating people that were non-cosplayers, I'm trying to think of like now actually, because I dated one person that was not a cosplayer, but he was in the entertainment industry and was like pretty cool about everything. Actually, he didn't care about it. He never went to a convention with me though, which kind of sucked.
On purpose, or just happened not to work out that way?
He was always out of town or something, so okay. it just never worked out.
So I would feel like that would be the one place you'd want to hang out with if you're dating somebody as a cosplayer. Like, hell yeah, take it on the con floor, show you off.
Right, like and you know what? You would be surprised. Some people are like, there's some significant others that want to go and like are like, hell yeah, this is my girlfriend, whatever. And then there's some guys that will go with you and be like, this is boring for me because she's getting all the attention.
Mm-hmm.
Like, those are the two sides of the coin. And like Cal said, like, so there's some guys that want to be handlers, and like I've seen people with boyfriends that are like, yeah, this is her card and this is, I'm like, oh, so cute. It's like that support.
Yeah.
But so I don't think that there is I don't think there's a right answer for that. Like, I don't think that I would seek out a cosplayer or a non-cosplayer. I think it really just comes down to who the person is and whether they respect you or not, and whether they respect what you do. You know, and I actually, when I was on dating apps and stuff, I wouldn't tell people that I was a cosplayer until after like we hung out a few times and like chatted. I didn't have my Instagram tied to it. I actually have a private Instagram account that I would tie to my stuff because like and it doesn't have any cosplay on it. So I'm like, I don't want them knowing what I do. I don't want them like swiping right because I'm in a black cat costume.
Right.
Like, so and like the comments that dudes would make from that is just like, ugh. Like, oh god.
And it kind of like, that sucks that, like you said, that being in cosplay makes you feel more of yourself, and on a dating app, to protect yourself, you're not able to share that from the get-go because people are weird and people will be weird about it. Like, that just kind of sucks.
Right. Sorry, I had to mute because like
there's a traffic jam.
There's like an ambulance outside. It's so loud. I live right off Lakeshore Drive. But no, you're right. It sucks because you can't really fully be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like, you are being yourself, because, you know, there's a lot of people that, you know, they don't know the real me. They know Steggy. And sure. One of my exes would call me Steggy, and I had to correct. One time I was just like, can you not call me that? Can you call me by my real name? They're like, oh, sorry, I thought, like, that's just what you wanted me to call you. I'm like, I have a real name. I'm a real person. Like, please stop calling me by my alias, you know?
Yeah, like, to you, you're real.
Right, exactly. I'm like, dude, like, we know each other outside of cosplay, outside of, like, obviously, you know, like, for me, the reason I have the Steggy name and why I keep that name in all settings internet is because I don't want people to know certain parts of my life. I don't want people to, you know, intrude on private parts of my life, because it's very easy to do.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's just so it really is gross when people can't differentiate, you know, the cosplayer or the streamer and the real life person.
And it's such a delicate balance, right? Like, to your loved one, yes, you want them to accept that cosplay and respect the cosplay and be all about that cosplay, but also know that you are more than that cosplay, accept and respect all of the other sides. Right.
And it's like, you're right, it's such a thin line. But, you know, it's no different than, you know, if you're dating somebody who's an actor or actress. Like,
Exactly.
this is somebody that they're playing on TV. They're playing a role. And granted, there's some of me in Steggy, you know, like tonight. This is who I am, right? But, you know, there is still that Steggy aspect. Like, there is still, like, you know, the real me wouldn't be wearing makeup just sitting at my PC, you know? So it's like there's still that Stegginess there. So, yeah, it really is such a thin line, and it's hard, but I'm confident if you find the right person that they will be able to tell the difference.
And I think it just takes that person willing to find the right difference.
Right.
So you mentioned respect. Like, as a cosplayer, maybe not exclusively cosplayer, exclusively non-cosplayer, but what are the traits that you feel those who have an active cosplay social life should be looking for in a partner?
I think definitely finding somebody who is understanding. Somebody who is not just understanding, but willing to understand and willing to get to know more about, you know, the different aspects of cosplay, conventions, your nerdiness. You know, if they're not into these communities, being willing to, like, go with you. You know, if, like, somebody who's willing to go to a convention with you, to check it out, to see what it's all about. Even if it's something that eventually they're like, hey, you know what? It's not really my scene, but I love it for you. Do you mind if I don't go? Like, hell yeah. Like, I'm more than happy to go off and do my own thing. I just want to have, like, my significant other know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this is a peek into my world, and if you want to be a part of it, I would love it. You don't have to be. And that's, I think, the number one thing, and it's probably the most important thing. I mean, understanding is definitely, like, yeah. Somebody in the chat wants to be a cosplayer. You should.
Yes,
do it.
T, you should. Like, I think cosplayers are becoming, like, my favorite guests on, because, like, everybody's life as a cosplayer is so almost unique to them, but also universal, that, like, all cosplayers understand what it's like.
Yeah.
And I love it. You're so much fun to talk to, all of you, and you specifically. I just love your down to earth nature and, like, your straightforward attitude.
Yeah, I think that's I think cosplay really did bring me out of my shell a lot and got me to be more comfortable with myself and more confident in myself. And you know, I think finding somebody who is, you know, along with understanding but also confident is something that, like, I have now looked for more. Mm-hmm. Is like, listen, if you're really insecure about yourself, I get that. I've been there before. But I can't always be the one to build you up. Just like you shouldn't always be the one to build me up.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes we got to build ourselves up.
Yeah.
And that's also something that I've that I've learned from the cosplay scene and, you know, being a cosplayer. So I think that's, you know, when it comes to cosplay and dressing up and everything like that, like, man, understanding is literally the number one thing. But I think that goes for anybody outside of, you know, cosplay. I think it also has to do with, like, gamers and, you know, any sort of, like, geeks or whatever, because you gotta, you know, like, you and I were just talking earlier about, like, Elden Ring and, like, these games that suck time out of people. It's like,
so much time, months.
You gotta be a little understanding. Yeah, you gotta be a little understanding of that, where, like, this is, you know, this is their convention. This is their week-long convention, or their, you know, this is their what is it, Dragon Con, you know, where it's like, they're gonna be gone for about 5 days. You're not gonna hear from them. They're gonna be fine. They're just gonna come back with some really cool stories. And you gotta understand. You gotta, you know, give a little, take a little, etc. The whole balance. So.
Yeah, Cal says, I'm literally playing Elden Ring on the other monitor right now.
Fucking Cal. I knew it!
I'm just honored that we would be a side note in his Elden Ring experience. Thank you. Oh my god.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
So much. Like, my wife is... I think she and I are the perfect example of this, because this is not her scene at all. She knows nothing about this. She's never seen Harry Potter. She's never seen Star Wars. She's seen the Spider-Man, but nothing else in the MCU. And, like, while those things are so much of what I love, and she's all about, buddy, I love you. Go. Live your best life. Go to that convention. Go to that Renaissance fair. And she's like, there will be times where I come enjoy it with you. Most of the time, you're going to be by yourself. And I respect that. She respects me, and we both understand. And yeah, I think respect and understanding are huge. So on the flip side of that, What are some deal breakers that you feel are like red flags that once they rear their head, you should snip it, cut it off, we're done? Especially in this kind of cosplay, gaming, geeky culture that we live in.
I think when somebody starts kind of shitting on what you do or what you like for no reason, like it's kind of like, oh, you know, I love Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, I watched Dragon Ball Z growing up and it was really stupid. I'd be like, sick. Like, you know, somebody that just kind of just doesn't care. Or I had a significant other that like would just trash talk everything that I liked, and they were like, oh, you only like that because of this, and I'm like, what does that even mean? Like, what? And you know, it was big gatekeeping energy where it was like, well, I've been watching that since I was a kid and you only just started, and I'm like,
and
huh? Like, what is that? What? Oh, my bad. I'm sorry that I wasn't watching it when I was 4. Like, my bad. And that's a huge deal breaker is when somebody cannot, like, when somebody can't just listen to what you're saying and, like, be on board with it, I guess. Or somebody that just, like, doesn't understand something and they shit on it. And
they don't seek to understand, or
they don't care to understand, or, you know, whatever. And it's like, it kind of feels like I'm being talked down to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that, like, you know, I don't tolerate anymore. I'm very, since I've gotten a little bit older, like the last like year or something, I'm very good about speaking up about like things. And I'm just like, hey, you did this, hate it. Don't do that shit again. I'm like, you do it again, I'm out. And, yeah, patronizing. I couldn't think of the word, but yes, that's exactly it. You know, it if you can't show any kind of support, like, I just can't do it. You know, if there's a reason why you can't support it, like with the whole Patreon thing, when I talked to my ex-significant other about it, initially they were all about it. They were like, yes, I love that you do this, I support it. And I was like, if there's something that you don't like, I need to know. I need to know now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm happy to meet you halfway. I'm happy to make some tweaks or whatever. Not because I will change something for my significant other, but if it makes them uncomfortable, yeah, let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation about it.
Yeah,
you know?
Because if you meet them halfway and you compromise for a time, like, then they're more open, and then, you know, maybe down the line, okay, I understand why you're doing this. Sure.
Right. And, you know, and eventually, like, a couple months in, they were like, yeah, it turns out I don't like that. And I'm like, you had your chance, man. Nothing has changed on my end.
Mm-hmm.
You're the one that's changing. And, like, the way you're approaching it, like, well, I don't think you should do this anymore. I'm like, well, I don't care. Like, approach me like a human being and be like, and, you know, have a conversation with me. Don't tell me what I can and cannot do.
Right.
So, you know, somebody that is like, you know, gatekeeping or trying to tell me what to do, that's a huge one. That's a huge no-no. Do not tell me what to do. I had like a guy once that was like, I don't like when you wear lipstick. And I was like, okay. And he's like, so what, you're just going to keep wearing it? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, but I said that I don't like it. I'm like, I like it. I don't care. Like, don't tell me that, like, I shouldn't be doing something because you don't like it. Like, tell me, hey, this shade, probably not your most flattering. What if you wore a shade like this or something?
I don't even understand where to start with a stupid-ass comment like that. What the fuck is wrong with lipstick?
Literally, I don't even know. Like, I can't even fathom some of the stuff. This is a scarf guy, by the way.
Ah, scarf guy.
Fucking
hate scarf guy.
What? But
should have known it was scarf guy.
We all should have known that it was scarf guy. But yeah, it was like things like that where, you know, don't tell me what to do, and don't shit on the things that I like, man. Like, you know, if I like something and you think it's stupid, whatever. You know?
Like, you don't have to like it. That's fine. Just respect me for liking it.
Right. I mean, there's plenty of things that, like, I don't like or that I'm not into, but it doesn't mean that, like, I'm gonna shit on somebody else for liking it. Like, I don't know. I don't drink tequila, but I'm not gonna shit on my boyfriend for, you know, having a shot of tequila at the bar. Like, it...
Right. What's it matter?
It doesn't affect me. Yeah,
right.
It doesn't affect me at all. You like it? Have at it.
Right.
Like, I don't know.
See, she's making sense, y'all. She makes so much sense. So y'all need to go make plenty more sense with her on her stream whenever she's live, on her Twitch. Did I do that right? Oh, good.
Yay!
I full disclosure, I need glasses, and it becomes more apparent every day. And so I'm like looking at chat. I'm like, wait, did I do an E or an A?
Whoops.
So one of these days, y'all, I'm gonna show up with some glasses, and it's gonna rock your world. Because then you won't be able to see that I don't have eyebrows. But I had a thought. Yep, and it's gone.
Well, like your eyebrows?
Yep. It's just one day.
I'm sorry. I had
one day. At this point, it's like I gotta lean into it. It is what it is. I'm just gonna be.
I hadn't noticed, honestly, until you said something. Like, I wouldn't have been like.
No one does until they mention the chat. Then I feel like I have to. I don't know. It's an insecurity of mine that I'm just like trying to own. And so now I can't ever like pencil them in or anything because I made such a big deal about not having eyebrows. If I show up one day with having eyebrows, everyone's gonna know that I drew them on.
Who's gonna know? They're gonna know.
Everyone's gonna know.
You should just like start small. Start small and just like casually.
I tried that.
And then 2 years from now, when you have full eyebrows, people aren't even gonna notice.
I tried that, and as soon as one person noticed, like, did you draw them on? I'm like, nope, I'm done.
You did too many.
I did too many. I went too fast, too soon.
Too fast, too soon.
Speaking of too fast, too soon, I know that you talk a lot about questions that you get in your streams. And so chat, share your questions as you are thinking of them for Steggy to answer. And I'll kind of make note. I'll write them down. I have a pad over here as we go. But what are some of the most common questions that you've gotten over the years on your stream when you're talking about relationship advice?
I think the one that comes off the top of my head is probably when people ask, like, how do I know if somebody's into me? That's probably the number one, like, because I think so many of us that are, like, geeks or nerds or, you know, into all this stuff, we are so oblivious to things like that, you know, where it's just like, well, are you sharing your interest with me because you like me, or are you sharing your interest with me because I'm also interested in that? Like, it's hard to find that line. And, you know, I think a lot of us grew up a little antisocial and, you know, we start getting attention at one age. Like, I know when I was growing up, I was called an ugly duckling. And
excuse me?
Yeah, they were like, well, yeah, you went through your ugly duckling phase and now you're I was like, okay. I don't know how to, okay. That was my dad. And like, it's, you eventually, you know, get into a point where you're comfortable with yourself or you've grown into yourself or whatever, and people start giving you attention and you're like, the fresh hell is this? Like, are you why are you being nice to me? What's your end game?
Yeah,
here?
I don't trust you. No one's ever nice to me. Why are you nice to me? What do you want?
Right. The hell is this? And that's got to be the number one, is when people are like, you know, how do I know if somebody's into me? Are they flirting with me? Or are they just being nice to me? And it's hard. It really is hard to tell because everybody has a different flirting, you know, style.
Exactly.
There's some people that are gonna flirt with you by being like, "Hey, what's your Twitch stream? Like, what's your Twitch name?" And like, other people are just like, "Yeah, what's your Twitch name? I'd love to check you out." Because they're just genuinely interested in checking you out, not because of anything. And you're like, "Damn it!" Like, it really is hard to tell. And what I always tell people is like, listen, if they're trying to talk to you every single day, if they are making time for you, if they are getting back to you abnormally fast, like, that's some I like you shit right there. That's all I got too. I'm like, that's like my one indicator. I'm like, if you get back to me hella fast and you get back to me like every time I reach out to you, I'm gonna assume there's a little bit of interest there, you know, and like you kind of casually throw in a little bit of flirting or whatever, and it's scary though.
I have the opposite problem where everyone assumes I'm into them because I'm just not, I'm super nice.
Because you are a very nice person, and I think a lot of people are not used to very nice people. So
it's my Midwest, y'all. Born and raised Indiana, which is how we all are. But also, I am a flirt. Like, growing up, I was a flirt, and so I constantly have to think, okay, how do I have to put everything through a filter. How do I interact with this person so they don't think I'm coming on to them?
Yeah.
Like, I just want to, like, I want to know what's your Twitch stream so I can follow you. Maybe have you on a guest, but, you know, they just assume that I'm coming at them.
Right. It really is tough, and I totally get that because I'm a very friendly person, and I try my best to talk to everybody as much as I can all the time. And I don't know if I would. So Chingona Fitness is my cousin.
Okay.
So I don't know if I'm necessarily a flirt. If I am, it's very unintentional. I try not to be because I very much am somebody that like I don't want to give people like the wrong impression. Like I don't want people to, oh my god, if you did, I would die. I would simply pass away. I would perish. I would just.
It's an eyebrow pencil. Don't worry, guys. It's eyebrow pencil.
Please. No, but like I think like Mel said, I think I am sometimes, and it's sometimes it's unintentional, sometimes it's intentional. Sometimes I want to flirt with somebody and see where it goes.
Yeah.
But I think, I am a nice person, and I am a silly person, and I think that can very much come across as like, oh, I'm flirting,
But is that a bad thing? Like, it's the cool thing about being single. Like, if
yeah, I mean, yes.
If I'm come across flirty, then depending on who you are, most people would think that, oh, you're an asshole. Like, fuck you. You're married. Like, how dare you? You disrespect your wife that way. But like when you're single, you got no one to disrespect. Doesn't matter. True,
but at the same time, because I'm a woman, people are like, oh, she flirts with everybody. She probably gets with everybody. I've gotten that. Okay. I've gotten that over, and I've actually gotten that in the cosplay community where people like I've had people say that like I'm a slut, and I'm like, I've dated one of you. Like one. What do you mean?
It's because you talk to people. How dare you be communicative and social?
I mean, it's honestly, it's like, dude, just because I talk to you does not mean like I'm gonna sleep with you. It's not gonna happen. And yeah, I mean, because I'm a woman, I think a lot of people are under the impression that, well, if she flirts with everybody, that she probably gets with everybody. It's like,
not true.
Who has in this economy? Come
right. On. Who's got the time? Who's got the money?
Who's got the time? What?
Oddity says, I flirt with everyone. You never know who needs the pick-me-up. And earlier you said, wait, you're not flirting with me, T. It's always a flirt with you, bud. It's always a yes. But yeah, it kind of does kind of feel good when you get that flirt. And so, it's someone has a nice little pick-me-up. Let's talk some love languages. So
I love languages.
So for those that don't know, can you quickly define the typical 5 love languages?
Yeah, so we have, I'm doing this off the top of my head, so I apologize.
I got your back if you need it.
But it's physical touch, as in like, you're on the couch and you're snuggling with somebody or whatever. Hi, one of my cats is here.
Physical touch. Speaking of
physical touch, oh yeah. So he's like, my love language is love languages. Yes, all of them, please. There's words of affirmation, telling somebody that you're proud of them. Telling somebody, hey, I miss you, things like that.
That's a big one for me.
Same. I am very much the same. Dude, somebody tells me they're proud of me, I start crying. I'm just like, just like the Mr. Krabs meme where it's just like the one eye twitching. There is acts of service. Which is basically like, if I'm sitting at home and I keep forgetting to buy eggs at the grocery store, my significant other comes over and they're like, hey, I know that you forgot your eggs last time. I brought you some. Instant tears from me. That's another one for me, like acts of service.
It's a big one for my wife, yeah.
Yeah. Somebody does my dishes, it's like propose, because I'm down. I'm very much in. So I did those 3. Gifts. So, you buy somebody a gift. That's pretty self-explanatory.
You were at the store, you saw a small thing that reminded you of them. Not always a big gift.
Right. You saw, so like, actually, I just got a gift from a friend of mine in the mail today, and she painted me this Bardock painting, and I was just like, oh my god, this is probably the nicest / coolest thing anybody has ever done for me. Is my camera blurry? I feel
a little
like
bit.
It's a little blurry.
It started blurring on like this space between you and your camera. The dust particles.
Right.
Does that mean you need to like do some deep cleaning?
It's probably because the cat came over here.
Damn cats.
No, it's like ever since I like put stuff in the background. Anytime I put stuff, oh, there we go. When I put stuff in the background, sometimes it focuses on that.
Oh, there you go.
So I think I missed one. I think I only did.
Sad Capper says quality time.
Quality time. Did I? Yes, quality time. Yeah. So quality time, just like spending time with somebody, even if it's over like Discord or being on the phone with them or whatever, just getting some sort of time, and which is another huge one for me. I'm not really a physical touch person. Like I don't mind it, but like it's not important to me. It's not my number one. It's not. Sure. I don't need that. But you know, if we do get that quality time, whether it's on the phone or whatever else, like that's huge for me. Like I need that. I need to know that like you're gonna make time for me.
And it's interesting, like T, you said it kind of as a joke, but I really do believe this. He said love language, what you were neglected with as a child. And maybe not always like from our deep-seated neglect, but real life example, like my wife and I, when we were dating, we were long distance. What, by the way, what's Mr. Fluffer's name?
Stash.
Stash. Hi, Stash.
He's very
love language.
He was like
physical touch.
Like rubbing up against the chair and making noise. So he's my baby. His love language is physical touch.
Hi, Bubba. Oh, he's so cute.
He has to hang out with me. Like this is pretty standard.
But I was saying during college, when my wife and I were distant, like physical touch was so much more important. Like it just was nice when we were together that like you just had contact, knowing we're there.
Yeah.
Now that we're married, we live in the same house. That's not as big of a need for her. I still like it just because I'm a touchy person. But now for her, it's shifted to acts of service is now her love languages. So she really appreciates when I take out the trash, when I mow the lawn, when I fix that thing that broke.
Yes.
And it's just so interesting that like this was a recent revelation. I thought love languages were just like what we're born with as personalities, but it seems like it's just whatever you're not getting of those 5, that's what you need.
Honestly, it really depends on the relationship itself, because I think that there are some relationships that you know, like you said, you get so much of that physical touch and everything that you don't need that anymore. Yeah. So that's not really your love language anymore because you're getting enough of it. So, or, you know, like I don't remember. Oh yeah. Oddity said, you know, love language, what you were neglected with as a child. And that's something that I also read. And I think it's true. I didn't get a lot of, you know, oh, we're so proud of you growing up. Sure. So now when somebody now does that for me, I'm like, oh my God, like that's so nice. Which is why gifts are not huge for me. Unless they're like, you know, if somebody buys me a diamond necklace, I'm like, thanks, that's sweet. But if somebody, you know, paints me a Bardock painting, because that's my favorite Dragon Ball Z character. Okay, you're done. Because that's my favorite. He's like, yeet, bye. Because it's my favorite Dragon Ball Z character, and they know that I love them, and they know that I love collecting art. That's huge, because that shows me that you have paid attention to me. You know what I like you care about me. So I think it is a little different in that aspect. But you know, I think love languages are ever changing because we're ever changing. Yeah. You know, we're not the same people every couple years.
Thank God.
We're growing, and I think with that, the love languages change and grow as well.
So, if like anybody that read the love language book is all about like when your love language isn't being met, it's like stepping on your air hose. Do you buy into that? Like when someone's not able to give you that words of affirmation, like do you feel like you're suffocating?
Yes, I do. I actually was just talking to somebody about this earlier today, where, you know, there's some if somebody is not giving me this, then I feel like everything is off, everything is wrong. It's like if you have OCD, yeah, and you have this closet and it's organized in the most perfect way, everything's in order, it's alphabetized, you have this DVD set, and like, you know, all your DVDs are alphabetized and they're in order and everything. And when I don't get that quality time, or, you know, whatever, it's like somebody took, you know, one of the movies, they took Dawn of the Dead and they put it after another, you know, in the W section. Then it's like, well, what the hell? What is this? What's wrong? Something's wrong here. Something's off. And then I very much get into my head. I'm just like, I did something wrong. Something's going on. Like, this is my fault. What did I do for this person to change that or whatever? And oftentimes it has nothing to do with you. But when those needs are not being met, it throws me off. Like, it completely misaligns me. So I do agree with that. I've never heard that before, but yeah, I can absolutely relate to that.
That's how he kind of breaks it down in, was it John Chapman? Something Chapman. Gary Chapman. Gary Chapman, original book. Yeah, it's like stepping on your air hose. And when you're cut off from your love language, then it doesn't inspire you to speak someone else's love language, and then it becomes this cycle, which I really appreciate, because it just challenges us not to just see the other person in the way that our own love language speaks. Like, I think we all have a number one love language, and that's kind of what we expect that other person to also be their number one, but it's not. Like, what you want to receive could be very different than what you should give first. And it just requires you to kind of, A, ask questions, B, listen, and not be offended if that's different than, like my wife, actually, one of her biggest gifts, and she feels like that's shallow. It's not shallow.
It's not.
It's not. At all. It's like you said, you got that beautiful gift of that painting because it's not the gift itself, it's that they were thinking of you.
Right, exactly. And I think a lot of people hear gifts and they're like, oh, presents, oh, like jewelry, or oh, you know, whatever. And that's not it at all. You know, and that's actually the way that I give my love language, is through quality time. I know for Bree and Mallory, I try to talk to them every day, and we do voice messages, and we play games, and that's kind of like my, hey, I'm giving you my time, and it's to show you that I love you. Because I'm not the best at telling people that I love them. I kind of show it in other ways. And the other way that I do that is by giving gifts. I pride myself on being somebody that can come up with cool gifts for somebody. And but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's mine. Like, if somebody sends me a box full of like things, I'm gonna love it, but I would prefer time with that person. Like, cool, thank you for sending me this like box of cool art that you know I would really love. I would rather sit on a call with you for 3 hours, though, because I miss you, and I miss your voice, and I miss, you know, your aura and everything. So I think that's the other thing, is sometimes the love language that you speak is not necessarily one that you want in return.
Exactly. So then talk about this, because oftentimes before you have that realization that the one you speak is not the one that you want in return, it leads to, well, she doesn't appreciate me. He doesn't get me. He doesn't love me, because while maybe he's mowing the lawn and taking out the trash out of love, what I need is, I need to be told that, yes, I love you, because they're not doing that. He doesn't love me. So how do you even begin that conversation? How do you begin to communicate in that way?
I think, and this is something that Mal actually asked, like the best like tips of communication, is to just be honest. Like, honestly, it's something that I have learned a lot in the last year and a half, mainly the last year, is that I am brutally honest now. If I need something, I will tell you, hey, this is what I want. And what I'm looking for is for you to make plans with me. What I'm looking for is for you to set aside some time to hang out with me, because I miss you, because I want to hang out with you, because I like you. Or, you know, if you just have that conversation, and it's not the most comfortable conversation to have sometimes. It is a little scary to have this kind of conversation with somebody who you might not, like, you know, be in a serious relationship or in a relationship at all with. But I do think that, you know, you telling somebody right off the bat, it could be a few minutes of awkwardness, but it leads to them going, oh, is that all? Like, you know,
it's so simple.
It's so simple. It's like, you know, oh, okay, I didn't realize that you wanted to hang out with me. Totally fine. Yeah, I can do that. And I was telling one of my friends earlier today, it's the whole, I want you to want to do the dishes argument, where it's like, I don't want to have to tell you to do the dishes. I want you to do them because you love me and you want to help me out. And when that's finally explained, you know, at the end of this, from that movie, The Breakup, when she finally explains that to him, he's like, why didn't you just tell me that? And it's like, it's frustrating. So it's like, if they would have just had the conversation of, hey, when you do this, it shows me that you love me. When you don't do it, I feel like it means that you don't love me or you don't care for me. And like, I've been in that situation before where I was living with an ex, and I was working all day. He worked from home. He was, again, in the entertainment industry, so he didn't really work during the week.
Yeah.
And I would come home and like nothing was done. Dishes weren't done. Like, you know, the cat litter wasn't scooped. The cats weren't fed, whatever. Like, I had to tell this person to do stuff all the time. And I was just like, why can't you just do this? Because you know it's going to make my life easier when I get home. Like, why don't you love me? And it's like, some people just don't think like that. And it's conversation. Honestly, it's really just conversations that you have to have. You have to just talk to people. Otherwise, things get lost in translation. Things don't get communicated. And it's kind of like, hey, I'm not a mind reader. You know, if you know, and I would expect the same thing from a significant other. If it was like, hey, I wish that you would, you know, like, cuddle up with me more because physical touch is like my love language, I'd be like, hell yeah, like, let's get some snuggles in, let's do this,
right.
You know?
So to push you on that a little bit, like, do you feel like communication has been easy for you, like, in your life, or was a learned skill? First question, and then I have a follow-up.
It was definitely a learned thing. I was never good at communicating. I was always very much I'm a pushover, and I always have been.
Yeah.
I've always been somebody that, like, you can just, like, you know, say whatever to, and I'm like, you're right, it's me. And, like, it was always very hard for me to communicate because it used to be so easy for me to get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I'm a lot better now at being vulnerable and putting myself out there and knowing that, yeah, it might end up not being what I want. They might end up being like, hey, you know what? I can't give this to you. Or it might be the total opposite, and it might be the best thing ever. And that's something that I had to learn as I got older and as I got in and out of these relationships where, you know, we would talk after, or we would talk during the breakup, or, you know, whatever, where it's like, well, why didn't you just tell me that?
Yeah.
Because I couldn't. And, you know, and I think there's also the important aspect of creating a safe space for your significant other, too.
Yeah.
Is, you know, making somebody comfortable enough to be able to talk to you. And I think that is something that I haven't always had a lot of, is, you know, people that make me feel like I'm safe to communicate things without them being reactive, being defensive, being whatever. So I think it goes both ways, but I've kind of forced myself into that. And I will say Mallory, Cat Lady Mallory, she's my best friend. I've known her for about 13 years, something like that now. She's very much somebody who has helped me with that, who has helped me. There's times where I'm not the most articulate person. So when I talk to her, I just have like this like wave of thoughts, and she'll kind of like say them back to me, but in a better way. And I'm like, that's exactly what I meant. I just couldn't say it.
Sure.
So it helps having people that, like, you know, can kind of help you understand what you're thinking also.
And that's the person I was thinking of, is that person that doesn't even realize they're not communicating, because like what they're saying in their mind, it makes sense, or they don't even know where to begin. Because like, to me, I've always been a talky person. So if somebody's not doing something I like I can just, in way too good of detail, break it down. Like, this is what I don't like. But to somebody that's not, like, if words of affirmation are not their thing, if like talking is not their thing, if expressing themselves is not their thing, then it almost like puts them I feel like in a box. Like they know what they want, they can't express what they want, so they're never going to get what they want, and they're just doomed to live in this like cyclical cycle. Yeah, that's not redundant. Of just like being unhappy in the situation. So how, knowing that you weren't always communicative, like felt like that wasn't a strong suit, how did you actually, other than like with friends, force yourself to put that into practice?
It's something that I have a little like notes thing in my phone. And when I get heated, or when I get upset, or when I get whatever, I word vomit. And what I try to do now is I word vomit onto this notepad in my phone, and I write all my things out as like, just like I would tell them, and then I just sit on it and I wait. Okay. And I kind of just, I'm like, okay, I'm going to reread this tomorrow. And I actually I did this recently, and I reread it in the morning, and I was like, okay, I don't care about this anymore. That's not what I was angry about. I was just angry in the moment, and I threw that in there too. Because I tend to do that. It's one of my toxic traits is I like to jab And I like to jab because I know it hurts because I'm feeling hurt. So it's a defense. It's a defense mechanism.
Like
for
you
me.
hurt me, I'm gonna hurt you. That way.
Yeah. And I'm gonna hurt you worse because I can.
Yeah.
And like I'm very petty. I'm very much like somebody that I will hit you where it hurts.
Yeah.
So, I write these things down and then I take out what I'm not upset about anymore. I'm just kind of like, whatever, take this out. This is stupid. Why am I still mad about that? And, I kind of go over this and I'm like, okay, how can I word this a little differently? Like, what was I really angry about? Was I angry because they did this, or was I angry was I angry about when they did it? Was I like, what am I actually angry about? That really helps, is writing it all down and giving myself that time to cool off. That's something that I didn't used to do. I used to very much be somebody that was like, no, we're going to settle this right now.
Yeah.
And I like couldn't go to sleep. And I was like, we're going to fight until we get this figured out.
Yeah,
and
that's how I am. Like, I don't want to let it settle, because then it's like, we're not dealing with a problem. I need to do it right now.
Right.
Usually when I'm like drunk at 3 o'clock in the morning, now's the best time. We need to talk about it
right now. This is the best time to do it. I get that, no, because I can still be the same way.
Yeah.
I try to remind myself, hey, like, cool off, relax, like, let's do something else. Let's watch some How I Met Your Mother. Let's watch some TikTok. Let's laugh at something, and then let's come back to it. And it's tough, and I'm starting to. Sorry, I read something in the comments. I try to be better about it, but sometimes it's hard.
Do you guys, if you've heard anything of value, and I know you have because you've been here, then this just describes why you need to A, go follow Steggy on Instagram, B, go tune into all of her Twitch streams, and C, go support her on Patreon so she can continue to do this more and more and more. And you can find all of those links at Steggy. There you go, Alec. You got it. Me and you together. Go shower Steggy with love, not go shower with Steggy, like Cat Lady thought it said earlier. That's what tier, what level of Patreon is that? Which tier? Just kidding.
It costs too much. If you gotta ask, you can't afford it.
That's right. That's right. Steggy, we could keep talking all night, and I want to, but we've got to cut it tonight. But we're gonna continue this conversation just on our own without y'all. You can have your own private conversations on her Twitch stream when she goes live. For those that want to tune in, do you have a schedule, or do you kind of just go live on Twitch whenever you can?
I don't have a schedule because like you said, I go live whenever I can. It's kind of like whenever I have time, in between work and between Patreon and everything. I usually post my schedule on Twitter. So all my socials are the same. You can find me Steggy Stardust on literally everything. It's TikTok, which I don't really post on TikTok, but Twitter is probably my most active social media right now. And then, like, if you drop a follow and you turn your noties on, you'll see when I go live. Otherwise, I do post it on Instagram and Twitter when just before I go live. So
okay, well then you got to follow you on Instagram and Twitter to know when that's gonna happen. Yes,
exactly.
But did you have a good time with me tonight? With us? With all of us?
I did. No, I had so much fun. This was really fun. It's nice to, I usually do the just chatting, like, by myself. So it's nice to have somebody to, like, bounce around with and, and talk back and forth to, and having the questions in chat and everything. This was amazing. And I hope we get to do it again. Maybe I'll have you on mine.
Oh my God, I would love that.
Yes, because I love the perspective of, like, you're married and you've been in a relationship for a very long time, and I'm like, I'm single. I'm very single. So it's it'd be cool to have that contrast and to talk more. So yes, absolutely.
I mean, I'm always learning. I'll tell you right now, I do not have it figured out. We're still figuring it out every day. We've been together for like 15 years, and things change, and because you change, people change. So you got to just keep listening, keep asking questions, and keep making sure that you're honest. I love that you have that take already. Let's see, did this work? Did that work? No, it didn't. I'm trying to get a raid going before we leave, because I want to take all of this great, all this great energy. Do you have anybody that before we take anybody from the chat, do you have somebody that you are looking to raid at this moment?
I think somebody already suggested somebody.
Okay.
So you guys can go ahead and
if I can
do your thing.
If I can spell it right. You guys, if you've had a great time tonight, then please do consider following, consider giving that extra sub. It means a lot. And if this is your first time, please come back, because we are going to be talking with somebody brand new every single Monday at 8:30 Eastern Standard, 7:30 Central. And I think next week, oh shit, I had it in my mind, but I forgot. You'll just have to tune in next week to find out who it is. In 2 weeks, oh, thank you for that follow. In 2 weeks, we're going to be doing a virtual Comic-Con panel, actually, with Dr. Lindsay Strange. And, oh, it almost came back to me. Nope. But Wednesday, actually, Oddity right here in the chat, he paints minis and has some great discussions. So if you really like hanging out and doing some just chatting, that's kind of what it feels like, except you get to make him or watch him make some incredible art in the meantime. And then Thursdays are our ongoing D&D sessions. They're pre-recorded for quality control, but we will be there talking about everything and reacting alongside you. So please do tune in for those things. Oh, and thank you, Cat Lady. I downloaded a lot of drives to make my camera look this pretty. Steggy didn't get the nice camera. Only you guys did. But Steggy, do you know how we end our streams?
I don't.
So I'm gonna say until next time, I am Boser, and then you're gonna say your name, and then we're gonna say, and you just keep, and then you say geeking out.
Geeking out.
Geeking out. Okay. Okay, you got that? You got it?
I got it.
Okay. So, you guys, this has been your Monday Night Geek Out Sesh. As always, I am Boser.
And I'm Steggy Stardust.
And you just keep geeking
out.
Woo! Good night.
Oh.